Today I'm going to be your drill instructor for the pre-MCT section. We're going to run through some really simple basics, kind of teaching you these to get everybody on the same playing level. That way whenever you go take your crucible and go test on some of these aspects, you're going to be ready and full of knowledge and know how to take on these scenarios. First off, we have green communications, okay? Green communications, aka green open comms. This communication procedure, members are free to talk as they wish. So just how if you're in a normal conversation, that's what green communications is. Moving on, we have yellow comms, yellow communications, or permission to speak. Okay, in this scenario, in this procedure, all members except those of the leadership staff, of the command staff, are to request permission to speak. So let's say I had a question and I wanted to ask my CO. Pretty simple. I would say my rank, which would be Lieutenant Colonel, my position, my name, my gamer tag, which is AK-40, and then permission to speak. So it would be Lieutenant Colonel, AK-40, permission to speak. See how simple that was? Moving on, we have red communications, aka red comms. Okay, with this procedure, where only the command staff can speak, and that's during red comms. Moving on, we're going to be talking about some communication over the radio speak. Okay, how do you call out to your team? How do you let them know that you understand something? How do you let them know that to wait, to hold? So first off, we're going to have break break. Break break means all units on the net are to remain silent, just like comm silence, okay? And this is a priority message. Here's an example. Break break, all units be advised, mission is go. Do you see how that was? Break break, everybody in the radio, everybody in the game should have been silent once they heard break break, and then wait for that message. Next up we have just one break, which is break. Signals a pause in mid-transmission when the transmitter needs a few more seconds to collect more information before completing transmission. Here's an example. This is Bravo Actual to Gambler 1. Go ahead, move up the MSR 200 meters north. Break. Okay, let me gather my notes here. Until you hit a curve in the road, how to copy. Did you see how he had that pause there to gather his thoughts? That way they could be awaiting for the orders. And that's what break is used for. Number 3, we have come in. So come in means you may begin speaking now. So an example of this is Gambler 1. This is Gambler 2, come in over. So that's come in. Number 4, we have how copy. This is asking how you understood the last communication. Here's an example. This is Angel 6, stay clear of the bombing zone, how copy. Okay, and that would prompt a response. Over simply means end of transmission. This is command to all units on this net. Mission complete, good job, over. So you kind of see how it ended that. Number 6, we have standby. Standby means to pause for the next transmission to wait. An example of this is Lieutenant Colonel. I'm trying to get a hold of recon. Standby, over. Next up, we have say again. Say again means to repeat your last message. An example of this is Gambler 2-1. Didn't get last comms, say again, over. We never say repeat. Repeat is used for artillery. When, let's say, we were to hit this area in front of us, if I were to come over the communications and say repeat, well then they would get lased again. So obviously we don't want to use repeat unless we're intending it during artillery strikes. Next up we have out. I have finished talking and I do not expect a reply, so be quiet. Bravo Actual to all platoons. We just wait at the bridge until further orders out. Lastly, we have copy, meaning I heard you, understood. This is Valkyrie 5, copy that. So hopefully that helped out. Move on to the next bit of training. Hello, this is part 2 of the pre-MCT training, explaining formations and how you form as a team. Now, it's really chaotic when you're playing one of our operations or you're doing a training or even if you're in multiplayer. Let's go ahead and just start with some basic formations here. So as you can see, currently in front of us we have a patrol formation, all right? And how we know it's a patrol formation, it's otherwise known as a box formation. Look, we have a box. We have 4 squares of 4 points of a square. Okay. In this patrol formation, we're obviously going to use it during patrol. So while you're patrolling down the road, while your squad is moving from one large objective to the next, we would use a patrol. This formation is really good because it adds a lot of perspective. See, if one man here, which we'll get into numbers in a second, one man, he could be looking to the northwest, and two men could be looking to the northeast. Okay, really simple, and again, vice versa. The four-man could be looking to the southeast, whereas the three-man's going to be looking to the southwest. So you get all sectors of the area clear when you're using the patrol formation. Now, let's go ahead and delve into some numbers. So let's give a top down here. This is one man. Okay, you see where my mouse is? This is one man. One man's most likely going to be the squad lead. He's going to be taking charge. All of the formations always form up on the one man. So if one man wanted to do a patrol, you would look where one man is and go to your position based around one man. Two man, he's going to be his right-hand man, most likely his second. This is going to be number 2 in the squad. Okay? Then we have three man. Again, number 3 in the squad. He's going to be in this position, okay, of the patrol. And then you have four man. Four man is going to be the rear. He's also going to be the 6 man that we call it. Okay, he's always going to be guarding the 6 o'clock. Okay, so his eyes should be mainly on ensuring that as we continue on, we're not going to be getting ambushed from the rear. Okay, so that's a patrol formation. We have 1, 2, 3, and 4 man. Pretty simple, easy. Next up, we're going to be demonstrating a wedge formation. Okay, in the wedge formation, you're going to have one man's going to be moving to the middle. Then you're going to have 2 men on his right. Then you're going to have 3 men on the left, and then 4 men on the right as well. Okay, notice how odds are always going to be on the left, evens are always going to be on the right. That's going to be through every formation. You're going to see odds on left, evens on right. So the wedge is a really simple one. It's what we see all the birds in the sky use. It's a V formation. This one's great for clearing out large fields, large areas. If these guys wanted to clear out this field, then they would do a wedge formation. Obviously, it may not be the greatest tactically clearing out a large area, but let's say they were trying to find a secret bunker, a secret hold, and they could use a wedge formation to do that. So in this case, you're always having one man be the point man. That's a great wedge. I always think wedge, I think of the V, I think of the bird. That's a good use to remind yourself of that. Next up, we're going to have a file formation. A file formation is basically what you're finding a single file line. Okay, so we're going to have one man in the front as always. This is 2 men. 2 men's going to be behind him. Or sorry, this is actually 2 men. I forgot. 2 men's going to be behind him. 3 men's going to be behind him, and then 4 men's going to be in the rear. So look, that's a pretty simple. You guys did this in kindergarten. Everybody understands a column or a file. Now, a file is what we use when we're trying to get through alleyways. We're getting through short areas. You don't want the width of the squad. You want the length of the squad, so you can fit through narrow areas. That way, if you're facing on gunfire, they only see this instead of seeing this big spread out squad. Okay, so this is a file formation. It's what we use a lot. This is probably the second most commonly used one. It's when we're boarding helicopters, etc., boarding tanks. We're always going to be forming in a file. Now, next up, we have a line formation. So in this scenario, we're going to have one man here. We're going to have 2 men's always going to be on his right. 3 men's going to be on his left. And then 4 men's going to be on his right. Okay, look at this. This is a line formation. Now, this is what we do when we say line up for a briefing. Again, in this scenario, it's not used a lot during actual operation. This is mainly just for formalities, just for ceremonies, just for lineups, etc. And again, this is a line formation. You could also use this instead of a wedge formation, but you have to realize you're all shooting on the same plane. So it's really easy to kind of get caught in the moment and potentially, shoot one of your friendlies when you're in a line. So just note that. So the last formation we're going to have is going to be kind of a take on the patrol formation. So if we have one man here, we're going to move him in the front. We're going to have 2 man, which is always going to be in the right here. 3 man is going to be on the left. And then we're going to have 4 man all the way in the back here, forming a diamond. And then finally, we would have the HVT would be in the middle. A diamond formation is what we use to secure an HVT to guard a high value target. Now, it provides optimal cover from all sides. So your north, east, south, west is all covered. Throughout all these formations, through a normal spread, you should be able to fit a Humvee. So in a patrol, you should be able to fit a Humvee in the middle. A diamond, you should be able to fit a vehicle in the middle. See, if you want to secure the Humvee and there's an HVT inside, then you can also form a diamond on that. So that's a really quick rundown on the formations. I hope you guys like that rundown, and we'll move on right to the next one. The next part of our training is going to be talking about spreads. We're going to be talking about the distancing between number 1 and 2, number 3 and 4, etc., etc. So let's say we have our 1 man, we have our 2 man, our 3 man, and our 4 man, okay? And they're in a diamond formation as we just learned. Now, this is a normal spread. They're in a normal distance from one another, okay? Now, if we wanted to get them tighter, if we wanted to get them closer together, then we would do what we call a tight spread, okay? So let's say a diamond tight would look something like this. They're basically halving the distance between one another, and this is a tight diamond. This is a diamond combat, or a combat diamond. Let's say a combat patrol, okay? So again, we're spread out. We're really spread out. We're double the distance. This is 1 man. We'll put this as 2 man, okay? This is going to be 3 man back here, and then 4 man in the rear. Now, you notice, as a patrol, the distance between 1 and 2 man really doesn't change that much because we want to stay in conjunction with the road. If you guys were off the road in a field, then you guys can spread out. 1 and 2 man can spread out a little bit more. So this is a combat patrol. Let's go ahead and do a tight file. So we have 1 man would move here, 2 man would get right behind him, 3 man would get right behind him, and lastly we have 4 man right here. So look, they're very tight knit together. This is something where we really want to close the distance. We're in a tight spread. So I hope that really helped show the difference in spreads when it comes to formations, and we can move on to the next one. So we went over fire discipline, we went over suppression, grenade training. Now we're going to be going over the clock system. So let's go back to our formations. So right here we have a patrol formation, a box formation, okay? A patrol formation is, again, when we're going down a road, whenever we need to stick close together and to be able to fit a Humvee. Again, that's a patrol. Now, let's say I'm 1 man. Okay, and I notice that there's enemies in front of me. Look, we have enemies here, right? And I say, guys, we have guys in front of us. They're contacts in front of us. That's a call out, right? Well, what if 2 man over here? He's looking this way. So he's thinking, oh, we have guys in front of us. We have guys in front of us. I'm gonna take those guys out. And you have 4 man. He's always looking at the 6 guys in front of us. So he's trying to think, okay, behind us, how is that going to work? Obviously, that gets kind of confusing for even just 4 people. And if we continue this on, the chain will just get very confused. In front of us is so relative. We do not use relative terms when we're trying to give out specific callouts of enemies. So the first part of that, when it comes to the location of the enemies, we use clock system. Okay? So if I wanted to call these enemies out, we have a great locator for those enemies and for any contacts, any buildings. So let's say in front of us here, okay, this is the north of our squad. This is the 12 o'clock. So let's picture a clock in front of us, okay? Let's look down, okay? Let's look down here. We have 12 o'clock here. Let's imagine an old style clock. 12 o'clock here. We have a 3 o'clock here. a 6 o'clock, and a 9 o'clock. And they have all the numbers in between. You know, we have a 2 o'clock, we have a 5, you know, etc. And that's what we use to give out those locations, to call those out. So let's say in front of us here, we have 12 o'clock. If there was an enemy here, it would be 11 o'clock. We have an enemy here. Let's look right in front of us here. What do we have? That's about a 7 o'clock. And then, you know, this would be an 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, okay? And the same thing, it's going to be the same distance for this person in the rear. He doesn't have to worry about which direction he's facing. It's all in accordance to where the squad is facing, what direction the squad is in. So since we're all facing this way, right, this is where the squad is heading, this is the movement, this is the 12 o'clock, we'd know this is the 6 o'clock. This is the 6 o'clock, same thing for 4-man. So if I wanted to say there's enemies in front of us and I'm 4-man, I would say enemies 12 o'clock, enemies 3 o'clock, enemies 2 o'clock, etc., etc. Okay? So that's the clock system. That's what we use to accurately describe their enemy's location. Okay? That's how we know where we are whenever something happens, whenever we see a building, whenever we see contacts. Now, there's a special procedure when we're calling out enemies. Okay? We call it SAL, which is size, action, location. SAL. Size, action, location. SAL. All right. So the first part is the size. Now we're not talking about how fat the enemies are. We're talking about how many contacts. So in this scenario, we have 3 contacts. So we have the size. We'd say 3 enemy snipers, 3 enemy machine gunners. That's the size. All right. These could be 3 enemy. These could be 3 civilians. You want to make sure you call that out. The next thing is the action. What are they doing? All right. In this scenario, they're just mounted up. You can say mounting. You can say shooting. They could be shooting at you. They could be prone. They could be non-combative. So let's say they were firing upon us. We can say 3 enemy machine gunners shooting. And the last part is location. Now, again, remember the clock system, 2R12. So we got size, 3 enemy machine gunners, the action, shooting. What are they doing? The last thing, the location, is the 12 o'clock. So we'd say 3 enemy machine gunners shooting to the 12 o'clock. Now, there could be 3 civilians prone to the 12 o'clock. It could be 3 snipers flanking to the 3 o'clock. You know, again, 6 o'clock and so on. And what's great is this person in the rear, you know, 4-man, whenever he hears that 3 enemy contacts is 12, and he's looking this way, he knows he's got to turn around, and he knows where the enemies are. Same thing with this person. He can turn around and know exactly where the enemies are. Okay, they're to the 12. What are they doing? Are they engaging? That's the clock system, and that is SAL. Let's move on to the next one. The next part of the training we're going to be going over is CTA. Cover, think, act. Okay? Cover, C, think, T, act. Okay? So what does this mean? All right? We already have SAL. We already know the clock system. Well, CTA is for instances where you don't have time to think of a plan. You don't have time to come up and say, we have hostiles in front of, we have enemies here, enemies there. Let's say we're walking down the road here. All of a sudden we get ambushed. There's a mine that goes off. Our 1-man's down, you know. 2-man, he's battered up. He's bleeding, you know. There has to be a certain go-to plan of action. We're going to use CTA. And how that works is the first part, like I was saying, is cover. So each member of the squad just has to say CTA, and the whole squad is immediately alerted and is going to follow suit. So let's say there's a big explosion in the middle. All right, 3-man back here. He's going to say CTA. Now all the squad is going to find the first part, which is C. Let me do C for you guys. C, right? Cover. So they're going to find the nearest piece of cover, the nearest piece of safe cover. That doesn't mean going prone in the field. Okay, that doesn't mean going prone in the road. All right, it's going to be finding hard cover. Okay, so these guys are going to find hard cover over here. You know, they're going to find the nearest. Again, this is all happening instantly, while the shit is going on. Okay, while providing cover and suppression, etc., etc. They're moving to cover. So now that they're in cover, they have think. Okay, this is where the squad leader is going to think of an order. Let's say the squad lead says, okay guys, I want 1 and 2 man, you're going to be flanking the left, and 3 and 4 man are going to be flanking the right. Then the last part is action. So this is where the squad is going to form and actually enact the team lead's plan. So these two guys, like the squad lead said, they're going to be pushing in, taking out these contacts here. Okay. And then these two guys are going to act and push out here. So you may be thinking, okay, well, what's the value here? So the value is that during the first portion, right, of cover, it should always be known that, hey, we have to find the first point of cover. Whenever the shit hits the fan, it's chaos. So if you have it imprinted in your mind, if you have this always a great fallback plan, that is CTA. That is cover, think, act. So let's move on to the next one. So we talked about CTA, we talked about SAL. Now what we're going to be going over is if we do have contacts in front of us. Calling them out isn't going to kill them, right? Calling them out isn't going to solve the situation and solve the plan. And then when you're in a patrol formation, we have a set procedure for you to follow whenever you do face contact. Okay? So it's really simple. Let's say there was 3 contacts to their front, to their 12 o'clock. Okay? In this scenario, you're going to have 1 man. He is going, hey, we're taking contacts. They're going to be calling this out. All right. And 2 man is going to do the same thing. 2 man's going to go prone. At the same time, this is all happening at once. Okay? 3 and 4 man back here, imagine him being prone, okay? 3 man is going to be flanking all the way here. Flanking so, again, they're going to be crouched. They're going to be going down, flanking slow. Let me go ahead and demonstrate that for you guys. So let's say I'm 3 man here, and I have to flank. You know, obviously, we're getting contact, so I'm going to be flanking. So I'm going to be going around. Now, the first 2 people, they're not just sitting there. The 1 and 2 man is suppressing fire. Okay, we already learned what suppressing fire means. Okay, we also have 4 man doing the same as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and reset here. Let's try this again. All right, we're facing contact to our 12. All right, 1 and 2 man's going to go prone, and they're going to be suppressing. All right, so that would make the enemies go back to cover. All right. Then you have 4 man is going to be flanking around, and 3 man is going to be flanking around. Now, what does that do? It provides full contact on the enemy and ensure that they are within guard, and also having a plan for that 3 and 4 man to go flank around, and forms a pincer, if you can kind of imagine like bug pincers on the enemy. Let's say we're getting hit from our 3 o'clock now. What is that going to look like? So it's going to be the nearest to the contact is going to go prone. So we have 2 man and we have 4 man. He stays prone. Again, these 2 guys are going to be suppressing fire while the 3 man flanks and the 1 man flanks. Do you see that? So that way the nearest line, the nearest file to the enemies, they're suppressing, and the ones in the rear are flanking. Suppressing and flanking. That's all it is. All right, 6 o'clock. I'm going to ask you guys a question. What would the 4 man do, and what would the 3 man do? You're going to have 4 man is going to go prone. 3 man is going to go prone. 1 and 2 man are going to be the flankers this time. 1 man's going to flank. 2 man's going to be flanking to the 3 o'clock. So look at that. Boom, boom, they killed them. So we can't show this last scenario here. We have 1 man and we have 3 man. So in this scenario, we're going to have 1 man suppressing, being prone, and we're going to have 3 man suppressing prone. All right? And then we're going to have 4 man. 4 man's going to be flanking to the left, and we have 2 men going to be flanking to the right. Whilst this is all happening, you are also giving out the contacts. You're also letting them know about SAL. So you're saying, we have 3 enemy contacts to the 9 o'clock. All right, and everybody should know how to form up. Once you hear the 9 o'clock, you should already kind of know in your head, hey, I'm here. I am a 3-man in this scenario. Okay, if I have contact to my 9 o'clock, then I know I have to go prone. Let's move on to the next one. All right, next we're going to be going over suppression. We're going to also be talking about fire discipline and grenade training. As you can see, we're here at our firing range. So what's really critical is while we're using our weapons, again, being noting that these are deadly weapons. They can kill our teammates at any time, just the same potentiality as killing an enemy. So we always have to be wary of where we're firing, where we're shooting, and a portion of that is fire discipline. So fire discipline is shooting in short, controlled bursts, and we do this for a lot of different reasons. Okay, we use short, controlled burst not only to have accuracy, right? But we do it to save ammo. Whenever you're in an operation, you're going to have a limited amount of ammo. And it's critical to use fire discipline to be accurate and to ensure that you're hitting the shots that you're taking. Ensure we're not just going full auto. So let me go ahead and take control of one of these AIs here. Let's go ahead and take control of this guy. And we're going to be shooting in short control burst. Now, whenever I say short control burst, I also don't mean just single fire. You could do this in full auto as well. So what we don't want to see is this, right? Obviously that's not tactical. We're using short controlled burst. So let's go here. We're in full auto still. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Let's reload. So you see how that's giving a rhythm. What did it? And you're able to aim. You're able to lay down fire. You're still hitting the targets. You're still being accurate with it. And if you notice, my magazine is thankful for that. So just take note when you're doing fire discipline. Now let's go ahead and go over grenade training. Okay, now we have a procedure when you throw a grenade. We're not just tossing 4 grenades out there, right? The reason why is we have our squad with us. Okay, if I'm just tossing grenades out there, we might have 4 men be moving up, be pushing to a different piece of cover. He doesn't know I'm throwing a grenade, right? Boom, he gets blown up. So that's why we have a procedure. We have it grenade training. Grenade training is really simple. All you do is find the area. I'm gonna take out this guy right in front of me. Okay, the guy to my 11 o'clock, right? We're gonna be pulling the pin, aiming. See, I'm aiming. Now my guy is holding the grenade, so there's no risk of me blowing up now because I'm still holding the spoon here. I pulled the pin, but I'm still holding the spoon. So at this point, since I have the grenade out, I'm gonna say frag out, and then throw it, and then wait for it to explode and take cover. Now, whenever you hear frag out, that should note in your head to take cover as well. So all your teammates should be doing that as well. Taking cover, we have shrapnel in the game, and the explosion radius can be different, at times. So always take cover whenever you hear frag out, whenever you're near a grenade. So let's go ahead and demonstrate that again. I'm going to do it one full motion. And I'm going to be aiming for this middle guy here at our 12. Frag out. Notice I'm getting around cover now. Boom. Easy as pie there. So we're going to be going over suppression. What is suppression? Okay. Let's say my guys are here. We're all pinned down behind these sandbags. We have an enemy machine gunner that's laying down fire. We can't move anywhere. Okay. We're stuck inside this trench line here. Now, obviously, shooting at him is great. Obviously, trying to throw grenades would be good. But sometimes you have to take an action to allow us to move and push cover. To have that gunner that the machine gunner that's giving us all this hard time, to make him go to cover, to resort to cover. And what we do is called suppression. So suppressing is suppressing the enemy, laying down fire to an enemy without necessarily having the intent to kill. All right, so let's say I was suppressing this enemy here in front of us. I'm going to be shooting above him, shooting below. So right now I'm suppressing him. And on his end, all the way over here, right, he's going to want to get down. He's going to get in cover, right? He's going to want to hold back. He's going to be reloading during this time. So now what you did, and when you're suppressing, you gave your team an opportunity to move. Now he's not laying down fire on you anymore. That machine gunner is not firing at you anymore. So now you know you have a good few seconds, a few moments here to have your squad, have your one man can push up now, 3 men can also push up and seize the enemy and take him out. So that is fire discipline, that's grenade training, and that's the lastly is suppression. So now we're going to be moving on to the next one. The next part of the training is buddy bounding, okay? So let's go ahead and give you guys a third-person view of this. So buddy bounding is what we use to move from one piece of cover to the next while being fired upon, okay? And how to do this very safely, okay? Let's say we're over here, okay? Our squad's pinned down. We're getting suppressive fire by this enemy bunker over here, all right? Now, in order to move, we need to lay down suppressive fire as we know how to do. Now, we also need to move from piece of cover to the next in order to eliminate this target. So, in order to do that, we're going to be bounding, so we're going to be moving one at a time from one piece of cover to the next. All right? So it should sound something like this. One man moving. One man set. And then the person behind you is going to say 2 man covering. And once he reaches this location, one man's going to say 1 man set. And then 2 man's going to say 2 man covering. And so on and so forth. So it should sound something like this. 1 man moving, 2 man covering. 1 man set, 2 man moving, 3 man covering. 2 man set, 3 man moving, 4 man covering, and so on and so forth, okay? Now let me go ahead and give you a live demonstration. Okay, guys, let's go ahead and start. We're going to be going and taking out this bunker, 1 man moving. Go ahead and suppress, guys. See, I'm moving here. 1 man moving. 1 man set. 1 man moving.
2 man set.
1 man set.
2 man moving.
1 man moving.
2 man suppressing.
1 man set.
You just lagged in front of me.
1 man moving set.
Recommends pressing.
And 1 man set. All right. Good job, guys. Thank you for your help. So that is how you accurately bound from one location. Again, you're always stating whether you're moving, whether you're set. Whether you're moving, whether you set. You also don't have to wait up for 1 and 2 man to be done. You can continue on with the squad. Okay? So let's go ahead and move on to the next phase. We're talking about RISS. Okay? That's recon, isolation, secure a foothold, seize the objective. So reconnaissance, isolation, secure a foothold, and seize the objective. Now, that's just a bunch of words. So let me set you up a scenario. Let's say we have the so-called coward. That is his code name. The coward is known for running at the slightest bit of noise. Okay? Additionally, he also is a terrorist. So we probably want to take out this enemy here. Now, the coward is not alone. He is guarded and has multiple guards that are guarding his position and his compound. Okay? Let's say we wanted to push in and secure and take out, secure the compound and eliminate the coward. All right? So obviously, there needs to be a plan of attack for that. There needs to be a procedure on how to do this securely without losing any men, without being spotted, and also gain some intel along the way. So, let me go ahead and give you the run through. The coward, he has been terrorizing the local towns. He has split off from the main militia in the area. Since splitting off, he has taken over town and other areas, and he is just known to be just a terror force. So it's your objective, your squad, as you can see, to push in and kill the coward. Now, like I was saying, the coward will leave at a moment's notice. So you have to be aware that he could be evac'ing by the time you're getting to that final building. So always keep your eyes out, ensuring that whenever you do sneakily enter, that you're not trying to, again, be loud and enter. So that's the first part. So we have RISS. So reconnaissance, that's any intel that you gain before moving into the op. Okay, so that's that spiel that I gave you. You know that, okay, there's a enemy combatant compound, and they just split off from the militia. So they're not going to be on the level of a Russian army, right? They're not going to have the same gear, and additionally, they're not going to have the same gear as even a militia. So they're going to be a little bit less training. That's some intel you can gain. Additionally, you know that this is going to be a stealth mission, and it's going to be time sensitive. All right, so that's some intel you could gain coming into it. Additionally, you know it's going to be while you're on the ground. You notice, hey, look at this environment. It's going to be woodsy. Not going to be. There's going to be a lot of open area. So that's some other intel you're going to gain during reconnaissance. So during the reconnaissance phase, you want to basically find a spot where the enemy's not going to be able to see you anywhere close. During the reconnaissance, your main goal is just to be sneaky and to gain as much intel as you can. So while you're here, let's say this truck here was going down this, he was going to patrol, just patrolling around this set area. So you would time that. It's like, okay, this truck, every minute he reaches this this cabin and he exits and chats. Every minute he does that. Or every 2 minutes, we have this patrol over here, and they cross this water fountain. You know, I'm just taking note of the patrols, taking notes of where everything is. Hey, I see 2 contacts by the shed. Hey, I see a machine gunner and a missile man, a radio man. See, look, he's a radio man. You see a radio man outside the house with the White House with the gray top. And then you can say, hey, I see an enemy next to the scrap pile at the brown house. Okay? This is intel you can gain all by not even engaging in the enemies and just taking time, taking your patience, ensuring that you're not being seen, and just watching. Okay? So that's reconnaissance. Anything you gained beforehand or anything you gained whilst going through the operation. The next thing is isolation. Okay? Isolating. So when you're isolating, you're securing the area outside of the compound. So if imagine the center of the compound is like a war zone or Fortnite circle. Let's say this is the main area that we're trying to cape, right? Let's imagine there's a point right in the middle here. We're slowly creeping in around this point. So we're slowly moving in. If we see a bundle of enemies right here, let's say there's 2 enemies out here, they're just chatting, or there's a truck that's parked down here with a guy standing outside of it, or there could be a checkpoint out here. As we push in, we want to eliminate those targets, those threats, as we push in. And also, while we're isolating, we're also gaining intel as well. All right. So, okay, let's say we've done the recon side. We just got done. So now we're isolating. We're going to take the defilade, take this tree line through here, move in, taking it slowly. Again, isolating, your goal is not shooting at any of the enemies inside the compound. That's not your worry, okay? You're just creeping in. You're taking out all the guards on the exterior. You're taking out any mines, any potential threats on the outside, slowly creeping in through this cover here. And finally, you're in a good spot where you're pretty close to the compound line. You're pretty close to the fencing. Where if you push in any further, you're going to likely be noticed by the guards inside the compound. Okay? So we completed the recon side. We just now completed the isolation side. Next up, we have two last things: securing a foothold and seizing the objective. Okay, so let's talk securing a foothold. So at this point, we've cleared out all the threats that are behind us in this area. Again, we're not taking out threats that are on the other side of the compound, just here. If we had another team with us, then we would have that team pincer in, take out the combatants on the far other end of the compound. Let's say on this rear end of the compound back here. They would clear out all these threats. However, since we have one squad, we're going to take what's in front of us. Now we're securing a foothold. Now, what is a foothold? Okay, a foothold is a solid ground where we can continue, where we're set and ready to seize the objective. Seizing the objective is breaching and clearing. So let's secure a foothold. So now, securing a foothold, now we're going loud. We are killing any combatants in the compound that are near us, any combatants that are in our range that we feel like might be a threat. If we're over here, we might want to take these guys out first, silently, and then move in, pushing into this building here. And now, finally, once we have eliminated these enemies here, the final thing is seizing the objective. So, securing a foothold, the end part of that is us mounting up on the building, ready to breach and clear. So we're going to move on to breaching and clearing in the next part. Again, that is RISS. That is reconnaissance, isolation. That is securing a foothold and seizing the objective. Let's go check out breaching and clearing on the next one. Next up, we have seizing the objective, or breaching and clearing. So breaching and clearing is really simple. However, each person has a duty for breaching and clearing, and each person its job is to ensure that they're sweeping their sectors. Okay, so let's go ahead and start here. We have 1 man, 2 man, 3 man, and 4 man set up on a building. Okay, setting is basically finding a location where you're secure, you're not in the way. You'd probably want to be back here if you were 4 man, ensuring that you're not getting hit by this window. And this is a really good position to push into. All right, now 1 man, breaching and clearing all depends on 1 man, and you're waiting on his orders to breach the building, and waiting on his orders to be set. Okay, so it's going to go like this. Once you guys get set up on a building, you're listening and waiting for 1 man. 1 man's going to give the order to, he's going to say this: 1 man ready to breach, or a squad ready to breach. Then 2 man's going to say 2 ready to breach. 3's going to say 3 ready to breach. 4's going to say 4 ready to breach. And then squad lead or team lead's going to say squad breaching or breaching. At that point, 1 man can push in, then 2 man's going to fall behind him, 3 man's going to fall behind him, and 4 man's going to push in and follow behind him. And 4 man's always going to be watching his 6 throughout this as well, taking note and ensuring that no one's going to come behind him as they're pushing through. No one's going to come up the stairs, X, Y, Z. So let's go ahead and demonstrate that. All right. I'm squad lead here. I'm going to say squad ready to breach, 2 ready to breach, 3 ready to breach, 4 ready to breach. So now I know as a squad lead, I know that all my guys set up on the building, squad breaching. So 2 man or myself, I'll say I'm going to grab the door. So boom, opening the door. Now we can throw a flash in there. We can throw a nade in there. However, we're just going to continue pushing in. All right. All right. Breaching. Now, whenever you move in, you're always looking left to right, right to left. Okay. Now you're scanning each area, scanning your sectors, ensuring that there can be nothing behind you, ensuring that whenever you cross the doorway, if it's open, you're doing a round area instead of just going like this. Okay. You always want to have an angle of attack inside any area. Okay, so 1 it would be set here. 2 would move in right behind 1 and be set here. 3 would be set here, and 4 would be set in here. Okay, now 1 and 2 man can already be continuing to push in, while 3 and 4 is just getting set in here. Okay, so this should be a process where 1 and 2 is breaching over here, 3 and 4 breaching over here. If you had 5 and 6, they could be breaching on this doorway. Okay, you need 2 people to breach into a door, into to a room, and you need the squad to breach into an area. Okay, a building. Additionally, you're always, as a squad, you're always communicating. So let's say I have 2 men across from me here. I would say, 2 men, you ready? You grab the door. And then boom, he'd open the door. We'd push in, breach and clear. Again, taking it slow, taking it slow, taking it slow. All right, 2 men, grab the door. You know, pushing in, pushing in. All right, we have an exterior door. Boom. Okay, let me go ahead and show you an example. All right, let's show you an example here. Make sure I don't lock myself out. This is going to be really simple. All right. Okay, let's do it again. All from start. We're going to go through a whole phase of breaching and clearing. And unfortunately, the AI does not want to work with me, so you get that. All right. Squad, ready to breach? 2 man breaching, 3 man breaching, 4 man breaching. Squad breaching. The door. Throw a flashbang in there. Now we're scanning our sectors, looking left to right, right to left. And then 4 man's always going to be watching his rear. Pushing in. All right, 2 man, let's push in. Scanning, scanning, scanning. And we're looking here. And we're looking behind the door. All right, 2 man, let's push in. I'll grab the door. All right, pushing in, pushing in. Now we have an exterior door. All right, we have an exterior door here. Clear. Okay, this room's clear. All right, now let's go on the perspective of 3 and 4. All right, 3 and 4, they're going to clear out this bathroom here. All right, bathroom clear. They're going to be clearing out this other room once they're done with that. Breaching here. All right, 3 men's breach. Watch this behind this door. 3 men would likely guard on his left. 4 men could guard on his right. Bang, bang. They're done. All right, so that's how to successfully breach and clear a building. And you're going to be running through a test on this once you guys go through the actual MCT and running through the test portion of it. So just be aware. Now, this breaching clearing method is the best method and should always be used. Always have a buddy with you when you're breaching, okay? Never go in a lone wolf thing. That's how you die, all right? That's how you end up being the only person in this building and your team has to push in and try to rescue you, okay? That's breaching and clearing. Let's move on